So then I told Wendy that we had talked about it. I think that when we were chatting about it, I may have implied that to Wendy, that Nneka was like sort of implying that Wendy was Osu.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 8, Episode 3. And before we get into it, let me just quickly say that I am getting more and more disgusted with how things are unfolding. I think that Nneka looks so pathetic and so desperate. That last scene with her and Robyn, the conversation felt so forced, and bringing us this mess about Osu and voodoo, it just feels gross, tired, and like I said in the last recap, this should not even be discussed on a national platform. Again, Nneka, you are going down the wrong road. I'm curious to see what you have to say for yourself at this here reunion, because Ashley and the Green-Eyed Bandits are setting you up for failure. And Mia, let me give you a quick warning, because I will be tearing you up from beginning to end. Girl, I know that we met and talked at BravoCon. You were sweet. You actually were kind and pleasant. But until we get to the episode where you apologize to Wendy for what you did last season, it's going to be you and I.
And you're going to always get it again and again and again.
And Mia, if you wouldn't mind DMing me, when exactly is the episode that we see that you're remorseful and you actually do take ownership for what you did? Because the way it's playing out, you seem hell-bent on trying to act like Wendy's at fault. You look delusional and insane. But without further ado, let's just jump right on into it, because you guys already know that we don't have a minute to spare. So we open up this episode right where we left it last week, with everybody at Ashley's housewarming. Wendy and Ashley have just wrapped up their conversation, and now we cut to everybody outside. So we see Mia addressing Robyn. She's like, hey Robyn, as your friend, I want to support you during this time. How can I do that? Of course, Robyn's defensive. Anytime anybody tries to talk sense into what's going on between her and Juan, she gets angry. And again, Robyn, you are just so immature. The fact that you're mad at your friends and the world, but you're not mad at this man who's making a fool out of you, says a lot. And I will always say it, Robyn is the epitome of a pick-me. She has a very desperate mentality when it comes to men, and the fact that she wants to hold Juan by the ankles because she feels like he's the end-all be-all says a lot. So Robyn's like, look Mia, let me stop you right here. I'm good, it's fine. If you want to talk about me and my situation, that's fine, I don't care. Then she goes on to add that she's not running away from anything. And I said, you know what, Robyn? At this rate, just save your breath. We understand you don't care. So like I said before, if you don't care, then why should we care? You're obviously okay with being made a fool of. So again, why should any of us waste precious breath making sure that you're all right? So Robyn brings up the intervention that was held for her a few days ago at Gizelle's house. And she's like, yeah, Ashley and Charisse were there too. And I was thinking about a few things that you said, Gizelle. Gizelle was pretty much going on about how it's not a good look for Juan to be out with his co-workers. And Gizelle jumps in and corrects her. And she says, now hold on, Robyn. Don't put words in my mouth. I said it's not a good look for him to do this in public. That's all I said. So Robyn says, look, you can say what you want, but at the end of the day, my point remains, I'm not going to ask Juan to change anything up or do things differently outside of my knowledge. Again, we are watching a desperate woman who wants a piece of a man. So Robyn, if you want to sit up here and turn a blind eye to whatever he's doing, then so be it. Because again, I've washed my hands of this whole entire thing. You clearly don't want to get it. You're a woman who needs to be told repeatedly that a man does not want you. So if that's what you want to do, if that's how you want to play yourself, then be my guest. And you know when Robyn's in a pissy mood, because the fact that she was actually annoyed with Gizelle spoke volumes. Because we know that the Green-Eyed Bandits are thick as thieves. those two have made a pact that they will never fall out. So the fact that Robyn was actually annoyed with Gizelle, that said a whole lot. So Robyn goes on to say that Gizelle seemed upset, that Robyn's not upset about what's going on and all the public speculation. And she says, look, I don't care if the block is hot. I feel sorry for all these people at home who are worried about my boring life. And I said, Robyn, you got too much dip on your chip. It's not that we're worried and we're just at home thinking about you and Juan all day. That's not the case. Because rest assured, when this camera goes off and when this video goes up on YouTube, I am not thinking about these folks. So I said, Robyn, please don't gas yourself up like the whole world is just clamoring to know what's happening in you and Juan's relationship. Because I can assure you, sis, we really don't care. So Gizelle's like, well, thank you for that update, Robyn. But I actually was talking to Karen a few days ago, and I told Karen that she owes you an apology. So now Karen and Robyn go inside to talk, and now Wendy and Ashley come back outside. And it's just so funny to me how Wendy has these ladies bothered. So now we cut back to Karen and Robyn having their sit down in Ashley's house. And Karen says, let me just start off by saying that, Robyn, you and I have not been the closest in this friend circle, but I do have to admit that last year went extremely left. Now we can go back to season 1. Karen and Robyn never saw it for each other. Robyn thought that Karen was full of it. She thought that she was phony and pretentious. And Karen always felt like Robyn was not truthful about her relationship with Juan. And she always felt like Robyn was up Gizelle's behind. Now, it was definitely apparent at BravoCon 2 that Robyn and Karen will just never be there for each other. Because the way Karen tore Robyn up at that Potomac panel at BravoCon this year, I was like, damn, this is one beef that will never die. So Karen continues on by saying that going forward, she does want them to be cool with each other. And she says, let's not bring up rumors about each other. Let's only bring up facts. So Robyn agrees. She says, that's fine. I like that. And now Karen says, Robyn, I have to ask you this question. Are you and Juan in an open marriage, or is it a traditional marriage? So Robyn says, no, we don't have an open marriage. It's a very traditional marriage. I said, girl, is it? He's out and about at laundromats and nail salons with other women and paying for other women's hotel rooms. But you want to sit up here and say, oh, it's not an open marriage, it's traditional? Okay. I just said, you know what, Robyn? If you want to say that that's traditional, then be my guest. Who am I to tell you what's traditional? Then Karen says, I have one more question for you. Are you guys legally married? Robyn says that they are, and Karen says, cool, I'm done. Thank you for your time. In all seriousness, and I know I can't be the only person who feels this way, the vast majority of this cast can go, but I definitely feel like Robyn, this can be her last season. Robyn has been coasting for years, and she's still not giving us much this season because she's not being honest about her and Juan. So now we cut right back to everybody else outside, and Ashley brings up Wendy wanting to start her own talk show. So Wendy's like, yeah, you guys know that I've been a political commentator for a long time, and the news shies away from a lot of topics sometimes, especially if they're controversial. So my show would be Bridging the Gap, where we talk about politics, but also pop culture and other things going on. Now, Wendy, you know I love you down. But personally, I probably would have told Ashley, I don't want to talk about my dreams and plans with people who don't like me. I don't need their energy ruining my dreams. You guys know how I am. Y'all know that I'm West Indian, and I have had it drilled in me since I was a little girl. Move in silence. Do not discuss anything before it's done. And that's in all areas of life, including romance. Some of y'all, like I told y'all, It's not that you're not meeting good people. It's just that you're running your mouth and telling your friends and family. Keep your mouth shut. But I'm a huge believer in moving in silence. Energy is powerful. Everybody's not happy for you. And I will be damned if I'm talking about my new TV show in front of enemies. I'll just wait for them to see it. Now, did you guys notice Gizelle and Mia's faces as Wendy was talking about her show? You look crazy and immature, and on top of that, you guys are both in the wrong. You guys have no reason to hate Wendy when you're the ones who started with her first. So you guys rolling your eyes and making those stank faces, I said you guys both look pathetic. I just don't understand how you can have the audacity to be upset with Wendy when all she did was stand up for herself and told you don't play in my face about my husband. She had every right to do so. So Charisse interjects and she says that everything's not for everybody. And Wendy says, oh yeah, my show is not going to be for everybody. And then she goes on to add that her show vibrates higher and is going to be for people with higher intellects. So if you don't have a high intellect, you're not going to get it. Charisse points out the shade. So Wendy's playing coy. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm not being shady. I'm just sitting up here taking a sip out of my water. Now, Wendy, let me just call you out quickly because you were being shady. And I'm not faulting you for it because you have Mia and Gizelle making faces, rolling their eyes while you're talking about it. So the shade was warranted, but don't sit up here and deny it because you were indeed shading. Now, again, I love the shade. Because, again, you're around somebody who assaulted you and somebody else who tried to clown about your marriage, so it was rightfully deserved. So there's an awkward silence, and then you have Mia talking about, well, she said she doesn't want to F with me, so I'm not surprised. So Wendy calls Mia out, and she says, well, if somebody threw water in your face, would you still talk to them? And Mia, here's where you show that you're not too bright. Because, girl, on what planet do you think that you can assault somebody? And let's not forget that on top of Mia throwing that drink in Wendy's face last season, she also hit Wendy with her purse. Remember that? I'm just so confused as to why you even thought that Wendy would want to be around you after what you did. And then you sat your narrow behind down at that reunion and doubled down on what you did to her. How dare you act like you're a victim? And that's how I know that there's a bit of psychosis, because you can't tell me that you actually believe that you're in the right and that Wendy's in the wrong for holding a grudge. Mia, all you had to do in this scene was just apologize and say, Wendy, you're right. I was dead ass wrong. I had no right or reason to assault you last year, and I'm sorry and I regret my actions. And Mia, I'm also even more surprised because the way we all tore you up on social media for what you did, it's just so mind-boggling that you're still trying to double down on what you did to her. So it's just more delusions. Mia's like, well, Wendy, you claim to empower and uplift women, so why not uplift me? So Wendy's like, it's because you're slow. I can't uplift you. You're too slow for that. So Mia wants to pretend like she's just so offended by being called slow. And now she's like, if you claim to vibrate higher, then why would you call me slow? And Mia, you need to be thanking God that Wendy's not retaliating because of what you did in Miami. Because I know the vast majority of people would have put hands and feet on you after you threw that drink at them in Miami and then went over their heads to hit them with your purse. So Wendy calling you a few names, that's the least of your worries. You're getting off easy. Mia going on to say that all Wendy does is say nasty things about people to uplift herself and make herself feel better. Again, you don't live in reality because you just sound so delusional and so insane to even twist your mouth to say that all Wendy does is say nasty things about people to make herself feel better. That's you. And on top of that, sis, you attack people. You assault people and don't own up to it. Don't be upset that Wendy has come out to be the winner and you're the loser. And honestly, Mia, after this season wraps, you can go. You don't bring anything. We don't get fashions. We don't get a glamorous lifestyle. All we get are lies, crazy timelines, And just overall nothing. And I love how Wendy ended the conversation and just paid you dust. She was like, well, anyways, I'm excited about my show. Let's elevate the conversation. And now at this point, we see everybody go back inside, but we still see Robyn and Nneka outside by the bar. And they're just talking. Robyn's asking Nneka where she lives. Then Nneka says that they should get together for a drink one of these days, get to know each other. And Robyn says, yeah, that sounds good. And it was so funny because as Robyn and Nneka were talking, we see Deborah walk past. And production is so shady. They played that jump scare music. I said, no, y'all didn't. I said, no, y'all did not hit Sesame Street with that jump scare music like we're in a scary movie. Imagine being set up by Ashley Darby and having millions of viewers calling you Sesame Street now. And you did all of this, Deborah, for what? You didn't even get paid the day rate. Production gave you a gas card and maybe a $25 gift card somewhere and craft services at the very least. Oh, this might be a small thing, but did you guys notice when Nneka said, oh, Robyn, let's go out and get some drinks, get some cockies? If you watch Real Housewives of Miami, then you know that Marisol has always referred to drinks as cockies. So I said, that whole lie that Nneka joined this show and never watched an episode of Housewives, that's a bold-faced lie. I said, Nneka, you've been an avid housewife watcher, because for you to say cockies, that was a clear nod to the Real Housewives of Miami. I just said, I said, yeah, girl, your slip is showing. And by the way, Miami is another great franchise. And they're such a good franchise because they're an actual friend group. And the drama is actually real. And we don't have all these divides and people trying to take down people. It's actually enjoyable to watch. But again, I digress. And now we end this scene with Wendy inviting Ashley to her children's first communion next Saturday. And mind you, she's inviting Ashley in front of everybody. So of course you have Robyn, Gizelle, and Mia's faces all twisted up because they're not invited. So of course Robyn's talking about, oh, is this her way of getting back at me because of what happened last year? Well, I don't care. I said, girl, you obviously do care because you looked pressed about it. And also, you have no right to be upset with Wendy for inviting Ashley in front of you because you did the same thing and you were so nasty about it. Because when they played the flashback of last season, Charisse was like, wait, you're not inviting Wendy? And you were like, no, I'm not inviting her. Like, you were rude about it. So I said, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. The same way you tried to embarrass Wendy, well, now she's embarrassing you. But Wendy, I do have a bone to pick with you because I'm tired of you trying to force his friendship with Ashley. I'm getting tired. That woman does not mean you any good. Like I told you in last week's recap, Ashley only sees it for you when you guys are filming. When those cameras go down, she is not checking for you. Her loyalty lies with Gizelle and Robyn. That's it. Everybody else on this cast, she can take or leave. So I don't even know why you're trying to be all nice and cordial by inviting her to your kids' first communion. Ashley would not be invited, especially with her trying to cause a divide between you and Nneka. There's no way. Now, we jump to a short scene with Gizelle doing some shopping with her oldest daughter, Grace. One thing's for certain, Gizelle is only likable when she films with her girls. Her girls are beautiful, they're fun, they always get her together. Like, Mom, no. But yeah, it was a cute scene, but nothing really happened. I don't have a whole lot of commentary for it, other than it's always a pleasure to see Gizelle's daughters on that screen. Gizelle really doesn't know that she could be such a likable housewife if she could just keep this energy when she films with her daughters with the other ladies. Because she can actually be pleasant and enjoyable to watch. So now we jump on over to Wendy at home with her family. And one thing about it, Wendy has such a cute family. And every time I see her daughter Cameron, I'm like, I want a baby girl. Like my ovaries always start acting up because she's just too cute. Now, not a whole lot went on in this scene. We see Wendy talking about her son's first communion. She's asking them if they're excited. And then she brings up how she grew up Catholic, her mom was Catholic, but her dad was Protestant. I have to say, I thought it was a bit strange that they're now trying to push this religion storyline on Wendy. Again, I'm really not looking forward to where this season is headed, especially with this whole religion / voodoo storyline. I think it's very evil. It's cruel, it's just in poor taste, and this shouldn't even be a discussion. So now we jump over to Karen going to Mia's house, and they sit down to talk. Now, it was so funny because the kids were running around, and Gordon comes to take them outside to play, and she was like, okay, babe, make sure that they don't run across the street and do this or run over anybody. He was like, Mia, I got it. I'm not stupid. Like, I know what to do. Enough. And I said, it is so evident that Mia has been so tired of this old man. She's like, the money's gone. I can't bear to look at him. But Mia, I want you to stop acting like you and Gordon still have any piece of money left. You don't. When you went on to say, oh, Gordon's been on daddy duty lately because we're still on pause about getting a nanny, I said, honey, the reason why you're on pause because you can't afford to get a nanny. Let's just call a spade a spade. Don't even act like you getting a nanny is an option. So Karen and Mia start talking. Karen starts it off with pleasantries. She says, thank you for inviting me today. Then she goes on to bring up Ashley's housewarming, how she had a great time, but she was upset with all the tension between her and Wendy. So Karen points out how tense it was when Wendy invited Ashley to her kids' first communion in front of everybody who wasn't invited. And we all know that Gizelle, Robyn, and Mia were not invited. So Mia wants to know, what did Karen think about that? And I had to laugh at Mia referring to Karen as the etiquette queen. I said, girl, what? Karen might have been carrying around that etiquette book in season 1, but I do not look at Karen and see the queen of manners, because Karen gets down in the gutter too. So let's not. So Karen says, yes, it did feel personal when Wendy did that, but we can't forget that Robyn did slight Wendy and her children last year when it came to not inviting them to her family fun day. So here goes Mia with the BS. She's like, well, I can't move forward with Wendy because at the housewarming, she called me slow and I took offense to that because my son has an IEP. So she goes on to say that her son, Jeremiah, is in special education and he has a speech delay. So I said, now Mia, you know good and damn well that your son has nothing to do with Wendy calling you slow. You are grasping at straws. You assaulted that woman. Period, point blank, end of story. For you to bring your son into this is disgusting. And here's where I lost it. When Mia had the audacity to say that Wendy needs to be mindful of the words that she uses, Mia, you need to be mindful to not assault people. I'm just not understanding how you think that you can hit people, physically harm somebody, but now when they clap back and offend you, now you're the victim. And you just look so pathetic to bring your son into this. You and Wendy are not even friends. Wendy has no idea about what your son is going through. So again, for you to say, well, it just really hurts because why would you say that knowing that my son has an IEP? Wendy doesn't know anything about your son. And if you cared about the kids so much, you would have never hit Wendy. You know that Wendy's a mom to 3 kids just like you, so why would you do that to another mother? And Mia, I just question your logic, because for you to say she's not trying to get to know me, nobody's going to want to get to know you. You assaulted Wendy. Why would she want to be around you? You just don't make any sense. I was happy to see Karen finally speak up. She was like, now look, I know Wendy to be a compassionate person, and I'm pretty sure that if she knew your son's situation, she wouldn't say that. So then Karen goes on to say that she won't be forced to choose sides. I say, yeah, Karen, we know. When it comes to you, you don't ever want to pick a side. You always want to play neutral. Personally, I can't stand that. I'm just not somebody who's going to sit up there and straddle the fence. If something's wrong, I'm going to say it. I'm just not going to sit up there and stand with people who are doing evil things because I don't want to rock the boat. At some point, you have to stand for something. There are situations where there's somebody who's clearly in the wrong and somebody's clearly in the right. What happened last year was not a matter of, well, they were both wrong. No, Mia had no right to put her hands on Wendy or to throw a drink in her face. Period. End of story. So now we jump on over to Candice and Wendy meeting up for drinks, and we are introduced to Wendy's new friend, Kiarna. Did I say her name right? Let me know if I mispronounced it. I know there's an R in her name. It's like Kiarna. And the way they kept saying it, they were saying Kiana, then I heard Kiarna. Listen, if I'm saying her name wrong, let me know down in the comments. But we're going to call her Kay for right now. So we're introduced to the new friend of the show, Kay. Pretty woman. She owns a med spa in DC. And we learned that Wendy and her met 2 years ago at Wendy's wind down event. Now, may I just say, Potomac is a huge cast. We have 8 full-time housewives. And now we have 2 friends of the show, Charisse and Wendy's friend Kay. So I'm just like, I don't really know how we can fit in all these women, but I guess maybe some folks are going to be getting the axe next season and they're trying to see who's going to be a fit with the other remaining ladies. I don't know, but I'm like, damn, this is a big cast. I can't keep up. So they're all chopping it up, having a good time. And now Wendy brings up Ashley's housewarming. So Wendy's like, Ashley's new friend Nneka was there. And now she brings up what Ashley told her about what Nneka allegedly said about her regarding Wendy being Osu. So Candice is confused. She's like, wait, had you ever met her before? And Wendy says, no, my first time meeting her was at Ashley's housewarming. And then she says, well, if she knows me, then that's different. I've met her a handful of times. Now, I just said, did I hear that correctly? I'm finding this whole timeline of when and where Wendy and Nneka met prior to this show to be so confusing. They're both saying different things. One minute they don't know each other, then the next minute is, well, I've seen her in passing, I said hello, we made small talk, but no, I haven't met her, but I have met her a handful of times, but no, our first time meeting was at Ashley's. I'm like, which one is it? And it's reminding me of season 5 when Wendy kept saying that she had met Karen before and Karen kept denying it. We all remember in season 5, Karen gave Wendy the blues. She was not here for Wendy, and she even said that she didn't think that Wendy fit Potomac. And Karen, I will always have a bit of a side eye for you about that. But this whole timeline of when and where Wendy and Nneka actually met for the first time is confusing to me. And I hope that we get to the bottom of all this sometime in the season, because we hear Nneka saying stuff in the last scene with Robyn about she's met Wendy before. So again, I'm already over it. So as Wendy's going on with the story about what Ashley told her in regards to Nneka saying that she's Osu, Candice is like, wait, did Ashley tell you this? And Wendy's like, yeah, we had a conversation. And Candice said, girl, that's the red flag right there. When Ashley comes to you with any information, you already know that is coming from a messed up place. And Candice is 110% correct. We know that Ashley does not have good intentions. She is there to be evil and drum up chaos and confusion and strife. So if she is coming to you with any information that she knows, just know that she is taking great delight in trying to bring you down. But Candice, you're saying the right things about how Ashley's a red flag, but yet you still try to befriend this girl time and time again. So you're losing credibility with me, sis. Because the fact that you still want to be around somebody who's been so hateful just makes no sense. So we end the scene with Wendy inviting her new friend to her kids' first communion brunch. And then she goes on to say how excited she is for the brunch. And she's even more excited because this will be Ashley and Candice's first time around each other in quite some time. She goes on to say that she wants them to mend fences because the three of them have a great time together. So Candice is like, you know, you're right. She is fun. I'm not denying that. But then she'll go around and stab you right in the ear. And I just said, Candice, the words Ashley's fun and you guys have a great time together, that should not even be in a sentence together. I was just so irritated. It's like, how many times are you going to learn? There is no way in hell that I could even say such a thing, that me and Ashley have a great time together. She's so much fun. And you really pissed me off at BravoCon when you went on to say that your love language is arguing with each other and how you guys do love each other, but you just have your moments. But at the end of the day, she's a fun girl and you like her a lot. I just said, you know what? I've washed my hands of that. And Candice, if you want to go ahead and be this girl's friend, be my guest. But when Ashley goes and gets you and turns on you yet again, I will not be here screaming and getting my blood pressure raised. You've made your bed, you can lie in it. But I'm not going to sit up here and get all worked up because you still want to be friends with somebody who's done you so dirty since you got on this show. I just hate seeing desperation, and it's giving clear desperate and pick-me vibes to hear Candice and Wendy still try to give Ashley grace. I feel like Ashley is more evil than Gizelle and Robyn. And if you want to still be friends with Ashley, you might as well pick up the phone and try to make amends with Gizelle and Robyn, if I'm being honest. Now we flip over to Karen and Ashley hanging out. They're doing some shopping. And I just said, when it comes to Ashley and shopping, Ashley needs to go and seek out a stylist immediately. That girl cannot dress worth a damn. And then when Ashley was giving her critiques of the store, she was like, well, this store is for somebody who's more matronly and conservative. It's not really my speed, but for the communion, I guess I'll try something out. And I just said, Ashley, your style is tacky. So it doesn't matter what store you're in, whatever outfit you pick out is going to be a mess. So Ashley's trying on dresses. She comes out of the dressing room, and now Karen starts questioning her. She's like, Ashley, I have to ask you. You haven't seen Candice in quite some time. I saw her a few days ago. How are you going to feel when you see her for the first time at Wendy's son's communion? So Ashley's like, I'm going to be just fine. She told me she doesn't want to talk to me ever again, and I'm completely fine with that. Karen points out that she noticed that nobody said Candice's name at Ashley's housewarming, and she can recognize when the group is trying to ice somebody out. And let me just stop right here. I personally feel like if Gizelle, Robyn, and Ashley are back on for season 9, I do think that it would be in Candice and Wendy's best interest to maybe think about leaving the show, because it's just not fun watching a divided group, seeing people who have so much hate in their hearts. I don't think it's going to get any better. So for their peace of mind, maybe it would be in their best interest to leave this show before things get worse. They're already thriving. They've made names for themselves. So again, it's not the worst idea in the world to say, you know what, it was fun. I did what I needed to do. I got the notoriety. I got the money. I secured the bag. But now it's on to greener pastures. So now Karen goes on to ask Ashley about the lawsuit that Michael has against Candice. And Ashley's like, I don't know anything about that. He won't tell me anything. And Karen says, yeah, I asked Candice and she wouldn't even talk about it. So we see Karen in her confessional. She's making jokes about the lawsuit. She's like, do I think that this lawsuit's worth $2 million? No, more like 2 pennies. Then she goes on to add that she's upset that Michael went down this road suing Candice, but she understands why he's doing it. He's doing it to make a point. Now, let me just stop right here and break this down quickly. Ashley, you can stop with this lie about you don't know anything. You know everything. You most likely put Michael up to this because you can't stand Candice. I said it in my last recap. Also, I just find it so funny how Candice is being sued for saying the things that have been said about Michael from everybody in this group. How come Michael hasn't gone after Gizelle, Robyn, or Karen? We had Robyn saying in season 4 or 5 that Michael was caught saying that he wanted to perform a service on Juan. Remember that? Then we saw in, what was it, season 3? Where Karen said that Michael was swinging his dingling on Grindr. Remember that? Gizelle has said many things about Michael, about how he's a creep and this, that, and the third. So that's okay to say, but he wants to go after Candice because what she said is just so horrible. So now we see Karen bringing up her conversation with Mia the other day and how Mia's offended by Wendy calling her slow. So she's like, Mia shared with me about her son having a speech impediment and how what Wendy said really hurt her. And you know it's a bad day when Ashley is actually making a valid point. Even Ashley said, Mia knows good and damn well that she's not hurt that Wendy called her slow. And her bringing up her son is just another lame attempt to try and get sympathy. When Ashley's actually making sense, again, you know it's not good. So Ashley says, well, since we're on the topic of Wendy, I can't wait to see her tomorrow, but I'm also feeling a bit guilty because me and Nneka had this conversation about Wendy being Osu. So Karen's like, girl, what's Osu? So Ashley explains it to her, and now Karen looks a bit concerned, and Ashley says, well, I feel a bit guilty because I might have implied that Nneka said it when she actually didn't. Karen was like, girl, what? So you're telling me that you started all this and that Nneka didn't even say it? And Karen knows that Ashley started this whole entire thing and that Ashley was being messy and put extra sauce on the story. Ashley has been doing this since season 1. So Karen was not buying the whole thing about, oh, well, I must have misremembered. I forgot. I thought that she said it. She was like, girl, no.
No.
I just feel like after this season, Ashley can go because I'm getting tired of this whole fake divorce storyline. I'm over her already inserting herself and trying to pin 2 Nigerian women against each other. It's just really nasty behavior. So it's the day of Wendy's son's first communion brunch, and the venue was set up nicely. The food looked good. There was a full bar. We see Wendy's mom and older sister there. And now we see everybody arriving. So we see Karen show up. Karen looked good. The body was bodying. The dress looked good on her. She had a really cute hat to go with it. I said, come through, Karen. Karen has definitely had one of the best Housewives glow-ups, I have to say. And now we see Candice arrive. And it was so funny because at this point, Wendy's mom comes over and she's like, oh, Wendy, is Mia coming? Because let me know so I can get my raincoat. They were all like, not Wendy's mama trying to shade. Because we know that when that whole assault thing happened between Mia and Wendy last season, Wendy's mom was activated on Instagram. And it had made the blogs, Wendy's mom and Mia going back and forth. So I just said, Wendy's mother is letting it be known that she wants all the smoke. And of course, we now see Wendy's new friend arrive and Ashley. Of course, Ashley has to point out her new boobs. She says, oh my gosh, Wendy, I'm sorry I was so late. I just had the hardest time finding something that would cover my new girls. And I was like, Ashley, all you had to do was just drape a sweater over the dress. I mean, I don't know how hard that was to run down to a store and get a cute sweater. You obviously wanted the attention, just say that. The way I yelled when Ashley walked over to find her seat, and of course, she's sitting right next to Candice, and Candice was not trying to move her purse. She was like, do I have to move my purse? I don't want to. She was not trying to have Ashley sit next to her. And I would have done the same thing too. I would have said, pull up a chair and sit over there, girl. You ain't sitting next to me. But I have to say, Wendy, you did a great job with the food because that food looked delicious. They brought out those plates. They had chicken and waffles. It looked like they had crab cakes. They had shrimp. My mouth was watering, okay? I'm salivating right now as we speak because I'm starving. These recaps make you hungry. So Candice interjects and she says, look, I just want to say that when it comes to me and Ashley, I will never have an issue being around you or being in the same room with you. So now Ashley says, I respect that, and I echo that statement. And I say, yeah, Candice, I'm not surprised that you would say that because you secretly still want to be this girl's friend. And I saw what you were saying on Twitter about how you need to learn how to be cordial to your ops or be in the same room next to your ops. And yes, you should be able to be in a room with people that you don't like, but that does not mean that you have to try to be their friend. Like, I just don't get it. I don't understand why you can't leave Ashley alone. So now Ashley turns to Wendy and she says, hey, Wendy, I just want to address this whole thing with Nneka and what we talked about at my house a few days ago. I just want to make it clear that Nneka never said that. So Wendy's looking at her like, excuse me? She was like, Ashley, you literally told me that Nneka said that about me. So you have Ashley lying, trying to deny that she insinuated that Nneka said that about her. And she's like, no, I might have implied that she said that, but she didn't actually say it. So Candice calls out Ashley in her confessional. She's like, one thing about Ashley, Ashley lies. She's a bold-faced liar. And why is anybody surprised? And I said, Candice, while that might be so, for some reason, you keep giving that bold-faced liar a chance. So I really can't take you seriously when you say that because at the end of the day, you still want to be Ashley's friend. Now, I just want to quickly bring this up. I saw a lot of conversation about this on Twitter about whether Wendy's mom is bleaching. Because when you look at her skin, it does look like she's been bleaching. And the pictures of her back in the day, she was definitely darker. She was my complexion in that picture when Wendy was little. And I remember Wendy's mom, when Wendy first joined this show, Wendy's mom was a lot darker. So when I saw her in this scene at the first communion, I was very shocked. Do you think that Wendy's mom is bleaching? Let me know down below, but I saw a lot of talk about it all over social media while the episode was airing, and the consensus is that her mom is bleaching. I hope that's not the case, but if it is the case, that's very sad and very heartbreaking. Now we get to the final scene of the episode, and it's Neka and Robyn meeting up for drinks. Robyn says that she's excited to get to know Neka because Neka seems so nice and so friendly. And I said, I'm sure you are excited, Robyn, because you now have a newbie who's willing to do your dirty work and attack Wendy on your behalf so that you don't look bad. So I'm sure you are happy that Neka is in the fold. So they're talking about Ashley's housewarming, of course. And was it just me, or did it feel a bit shady when Neka was like, oh yeah, Ashley's house is so adorable? I just felt like, of all the adjectives that you could use about somebody's new house, I feel like adorable is a bit of a slight. It's almost like, oh, well, you know, it's cute. It's adorable. It's cute and small. It's cute for her. That's what it felt like. So now Robyn goes on to ask if Neka only knows Ashley. So Neka says that she only knows Ashley, but she's met Wendy. She doesn't know Wendy, but she knows of her. Then she goes on to add that she did meet Wendy at some event. They had a conversation, and that was it. So Robyn is confused. She's like, well, I thought that you guys were just meeting for the first time at Ashley's. I didn't know that you guys had met before. So Neka gets a bit feisty. She's like, look, if Wendy wants to act like we never met before and that was our first time meeting, then so be it, but that's not the case. So Robyn says, well, neither one of you guys said at Ashley's that you guys have met. Now Neka goes on to say that she met Wendy at a concert and at a birthday party. I said, now girl, how many times have you met Wendy? The story's not adding up. Wendy's saying something completely different. you're saying, well, I met her, but I don't know her, but then I did meet her here. I met her there. I met her on a plane. I met her on a train, met her on a bus, met her at a coffee shop. It's like, girl, what's going on? I don't know why there's so much confusion about if you guys met each other beforehand or not. So now Nneka tells a story in her confessional about how when she did meet Wendy some months ago, she would have smiled at Wendy, but she didn't because Wendy was glaring at her. I said, now, Nneka, this story doesn't even make any sense. Why would Wendy just be glaring at you? Were you staring at her? Like, I don't believe this. I feel like Nneka is saying anything and pulling this out of her ass to have this beef with Wendy. That's what it feels like. So now Nneka goes on to tell Robyn that she was actually shocked that Wendy was friends with her, and how she was expecting Wendy to be aggressive when she saw her at Ashley's housewarming. I find it very interesting that Nneka chose the word aggressive because we've seen in previous seasons Gizelle, Robyn, and Ashley referred to Wendy as aggressive. I think it was in season 6 when they were coming after Wendy about her marriage. I just find it really weird that Nneka chose that word. And Nneka, I'm not believing that you did not watch this show prior to joining, because it seems a bit interesting that you bumped into Wendy all these times and now you're on the show. So now Nneka reveals that Wendy's family has actually been harassing her over the last 3 weeks. So Robyn's like, wait, what? What do you mean? What do you mean they're harassing you? So Nneka reveals that Wendy's family has been calling her up and harassing her over the last 3 weeks. She says that Wendy's older sister, Ivy, has been calling up her husband's cousin. And we find out that Wendy's sister, Ivy, and Nneka's husband's cousin have been friends for 13 years. So Nneka goes on to say that Ivy called up the cousin because she said that Wendy was upset that Nneka has been going around using her name, being a clout chaser, trying to get in with the ladies of this group. So now Nneka says that Wendy's mom started calling her husband's cousin, and she started asking her if she's ever prayed for them. Then she goes on to add that Wendy's mom told the cousin that it's a sin to use somebody else's name and that she has a shrine with all the names. So here goes Robyn. Oh my gosh, Wendy's mother is doing voodoo on you? Oh my gosh, that's crazy. It was very clear that this whole conversation was discussed prior to you and Nneka meeting up. It felt so forced and so fake. Robyn's reactions were not authentic in the least bit. It looked like a bad acting job. I had secondhand embarrassment watching her do that. So now you have Nneka saying that Wendy's mom put a hex on her. I said, girl, you should feel so ashamed of yourself to even bring something like this up. This is nothing to play with. And for you to sit up there and to embarrass your fellow Nigerian sister like this, it's disgusting and it's sad. And if I'm not mistaken, the DMV has a very large Nigerian population. I hope that they are tearing you up when they see you. Because again, you are really embarrassing yourself and selling your soul for what? And I thought that was messy of production to cut to Wendy's mom praying over the kids while you have Nneka and Robyn cackling about her being into voodoo and having shrines and putting hexes on people. I said, that's not right. So here goes Robyn talking about she's freaked out by this. Then she says, I know you guys are in the same culture. You're part of the same tribe. Is this normal? So Nneka's like, no, it's not normal at all. Then Nneka goes on to say that it's really sad because her and Wendy are supposed to be sisters. I said, girl, it's really sad on your end. You're the one who's up here looking pathetic, trying to bring down your Nigerian sister, Wendy. Wendy has not said anything bad about you. You're over here clowning with Ashley and Robyn, trying to tear her down, trying to say that her mom is into voodoo and hexes and curses. That's really shameful and evil. Robyn, you look like a fool. I just said, girl, what are you laughing at? And then when you say, you know what? I think that Wendy's mom put a hex on me with all that's happening in my life. I said, baby, there's no hex on you. You're just desperate. Desperate for a man who's made it clear over these years that he does not want you. Don't blame Wendy's mother on what you have going on. When Wendy tears y'all up at this reunion, I don't want to see anybody talk about, oh, that was excessive, that was aggressive, that was this, that, or the third. I don't want to hear it. And also, the only two people who should be talking about this are Wendy and Nneka. They're the only two who are Nigerian. The rest of y'all need to sit this conversation out. I don't even feel comfortable repeating what's being said. It's very sad that you're allowing yourself to be a pawn of the green-eyed bandits. And when they leave you out to dry after the season is over, you'll have nobody else to blame but yourself. But y'all, that's where the episode ends. And guys, each week I am making the decision not to allow myself to get worked up. This show will not steal my joy or my peace. And it looks like next week is about to be a hot mess when they're at Karen's pickleball event and we see Nneka try to blast Wendy about her mom having shrines. But guys, again, that was my recap. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all so much for watching, and you already know what to do. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye.